Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Sarah Knows Support Workers. Today I've got Solomon and we've been dancing in the same circles, but I finally got to you, our fellow podcast. So do you want to get straight into it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, Solomon, can you tell us something a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. What can I tell you about myself? So as you know, my name's Solomon. I work at Line Community Care. We've just started a podcast called Shift Banter, which has been very, very fun. A little bit about myself. Look, I love what I do for work. I've been working as a district sector for about 15 years, primarily with psychosocial participants. Outside of work though, I'm a lot of people would think that I'm introvert, like I'm an extrovert because I get a lot of events and I'm really chatty um and stuff like that. But I'm actually an introvert. I really struggle when I see big crowds. I kind of beeline to like the most quietest part of the room. Uh, outside of yeah, I'm kind of a lone ranger a little bit sometimes, not all the time, but I turn it on when I need to at work or at events. Other than that, look, I love footy. Um, Rugby fan. In Australia. I was born and raised in Australia. My background is Fiji.
Yeah.
We love rugby league in Australia, but outside of rugby league, I'm I'm, I'm more a massive rugby union fan. So we're a small minority in Sydney, but outside of rugby union, I'm a like just big motor enthusiast. Love Bathurst 1000. Love anything to do with cars. If you talk to me about cars, we'll be here all day.
Lucky
Yeah,
for you, I know nothing.
yeah,
I need to take you back on one part because you said something that I went.
yeah.
It's called ambivert. So it's where
Amber.
you're in
Huh?
between a introvert and an extrovert. I feel that because I will
Oh,
I recall like there's times where I'm like, this crowd is really big. Like if there's a music festival, I'd rather stand or at the back. Like I'm not the person in front of the crowd. Or I get what you
Amber.
mean because then you got to like charge yourself back up again to
Yeah.
attend. Yeah. Yeah. So besides that, you've got kids as well. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes. Yes, I've been married for 13, I mean, it's 13 years now. I should get this right. My wife is probably going to watch this later. Yeah, I've been married for 13 years now. We have three kids, one in year seven, just out of high school. And we were debating the whole, like, does he have a phone or not? Like, it's, yeah. Well, we gave him a phone, because we needed to make sure that he can contact us. Uh, So he's in high school, just started year seven. And then I have a middle child who's in year four. Um, and then I have one that's just starting prep. So, fun
We're
days.
We're very similar. I've got three kids too. So I remember when we are doing the pre-show stuff, I was like, oh, wow, we've got so much in common. And the more you talk, the more you
And
find out about people.
the best thing about it at the moment is, so my daughter, my youngest has 2 days of prep, and they're the best 2 days of the school drop because it means that I get to drop them all at the same location. At the moment, I'm having to do two different drops and they get stuck in traffic and it's just a nightmare. So I'm hoping we're on the waiting list for more days, but I can't wait
Yep.
for next year. Next year is just
I,
one complete drop.
I can't wait. So yeah, I'm counting down for my son. It's like 3 years ago. I've got this. I'm nearly close. So
Yeah,
what got you into the disability sector?
yeah. You know what? Great question. Yeah, let me answer it the long way. Oh, wait, I'll give you a short answer. To be very honest, I stumbled into it. Um, but I sit down with a lot of people, and a lot of people were saying like, I was just called for this. Like, it was just calling my name. This is, yeah, and fortunately, I didn't have that experience where I just heard an audible voice saying, "This is where you need to be." I kind of, I stumbled into this sector, and I've kind of never looked back. But as soon as but once I stumbled into the sector, I realized that I really enjoy this place. Like, I really enjoy being able to be on the front line. I started as a support worker back in the day. There used to be a company in Sydney called DSA, Disability Services Australia. And then, when they merged with later on a couple of years ago. But my years started there. I started off as a support worker, working with participants. They used to have a program called CJP, Criminal Justice Program. And I just loved it. Yeah, the participants we worked with were very like high complex. So like any given day, it was
Yep.
just like you didn't know what you were going to get in for. You didn't know whether you were to walk in the door and a participant's going to intimidate you, or you didn't know, I don't know, like your family member was going to be screaming at you or something like that. And I don't know, just that kind of diversity was just like, oh, I think and that kind of just appealed to me.
Yep.
And then as I kind of got into it, found my feet, I realized, wow, like there's a lot of good that I can do here.
Yep.
Being able to have the small conversations, being able to walk families through, was support a few clients that passed away. So I was able to walk families through that time. And I realized that I got to walk away. I got to 5 o'clock, finish work, I walked home.
Yep.
But the impact that I had uh, was supporting I guess, families, was supporting participants. Like it outlived the 8 hour shift that I worked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The impact that we got to make, and I don't know, like it just resonated with me, and I just couldn't walk away. Like I tried actually. So I've been in this industry for about 15 years, and there was a stint there where like just before COVID hit, I kind of just thought, "Look, no, I've just had enough." And
Yeah.
I tried a year and a bit outside of the disability sector. I went into workers' comp, and I realized once I left, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I miss the sector. And I came back. So yeah, I came back, and I've been here ever since. Yeah, look, like yeah, as I said, like I stumbled into this sector, and then really found my feet when I realized the impact that I was able to
Yep.
make.
So, what did the early years teach you about real support on the ground?
Yeah, the early years of support, I guess this is pre NDIS as well, so it was a lot different. But I think just being able, there was a support workers back in the days during that time. So support workers, we did a lot as support workers. We advocated, we did all the paperwork. We spoke to lawyers. There were so many times where I would go to support clients to court, and the
Yeah.
client would turn to me, he's like, can you speak on my behalf? And I'll be like, what? I'm like, no, so like having to quickly like Google it, what do I do in court? Like you've got to
Yeah.
bow, you got to say your honor. So
Yeah.
like learning all this stuff, and I think um what it taught me. So the question was what it taught me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess what it taught me was the profound impact we have in our job, the people that we support. What I found was like a lot of these people, and also during that time, and perhaps a little bit today, people with disabilities are frowned upon.
Mm.
Like there is a unspoken, maybe not, in my experience, I don't know, speaking on everyone else's experience, but in my experience, what I've seen is that there's almost this unspoken, whatever it is, kind of something in the air where there's this, like, it's frowned upon, and it's a lot worse back then, right? So being able to stand in the gap and advocate for those that didn't have a voice, being able to
Yep.
support them, right, and see the differences made. You know, and it wasn't always, we didn't always have wins. Some days we'd have wins, and some days we'd have massive crashes.
Yep.
But the wins, we lived for the wins, and we fought in the trenches with them. So yeah, that was massive for me.
You brought up something that like you pulled my heartstrings because I remember there were points because I've been in the sector for 17 years. We used to write the behaviour support plans.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
used to
yeah.
we used to write create the communication aids. That was an expectation of our jobs, and it's completely different now. But we had to do that. So we've got all these highly skilled people that were support workers now working in offices, not expecting to do what we used to do. That's somebody else now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And for me, it really put me on a trajectory, and kind of set the platform to where I am today, because in that time, like you said, we had to do everything. We were almost running BSP grids. I mean, I hope the NDIA are not listening.
Well, we're talking nearly 20 years ago.
But yeah, 20 years ago, like we had to write them. We had to help. We had to also help the BSP come up with it as well. I mean, there were BSPs there. Like if
We with the
anyone's listening,
strategies, the triggers,
the
we did it
strategies,
all.
we were the triggers, we were trying to figure everything out. And really our approach, what I really loved about that time, like there was almost no set, like there was rules of how you were to operate and how you were to behave, and how you were supposed to do things, but everything else in between, you have to use your creativity, right?
Yeah,
You had to use your initiative. You had to
yeah,
show drive, you had to show initiative. And
yep,
the ones that showed drive, the ones that showed initiative, the ones that showed creativity in that space during that time pre-NDIS, look at where they are now. A lot of them, I mean, look at yourself.
100%.
I mean,
Yeah,
myself, for
a
example,
hundred
a lot of
percent.
other people are sitting today as CEOs, managers,
Yep,
COOs, BDMs, because a lot of started as support workers, but everything, all the skill sets that we learned put us on a trajectory that set us up for when the NDIS kicked off. We were like, yeah, I can do this. I know how to do that. Yeah, I can write that easy. And, it's so funny. I said this to I was at an event today, a Kismet event in Liverpool, and well, I was having a chat with one of the guys, and I said, man, look, no offense to, and I say this not to generalize things, but I said, geez, like back then when we were support workers, we were built different. Yeah. And that's not, I know I may get slapped for that because there are a lot of great support workers
there
today.
are, but the
They are
expectations are
really credible.
different.
The expectations are different. We were expected to do, I mean, not expected to do everything, but, we did the roles of support coordinators. We did the roles of implementing BSPs and stuff like that. And our, our teams were a lot, our teams were a lot smaller, but yeah, we were a lot more robust. That's probably the word I'm looking for.
Yep, I agree. And you know what the interesting part is, because you wore this many hats as a support worker, what you see for work now, you treat it very differently. Like some, like I'll
Yeah.
see a plan that comes through and I'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Just you do that again. Like,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know what the expectations are or how to network. Like you said, support coordinators didn't exist. As support workers, my job was to network people within the community, and the aim was to leave service. And it was really brought out, like, you have to work to this point for them to be as independent as possible. That messaging, I feel, sometimes has been lost because it feels like
Mm,
we don't assist somebody to be as independent as possible. We just assist them to just be around. Like, I don't know, there's no exit plan. I find that part really hard to take in our sector, because there should be that thing that we are working towards somebody to be as independent as possible. And if you're not the service, that's fine. Network along. Like, yeah, that part stumps me.
that is a pet hate for me in this sector. I think, like, if we break it down in a nutshell, okay, it's purest form. A participant has goals. And a participant has goals, and we provide funding in order to achieve their goals. Right? With the buzzword around the NDIS is capacity building. We we need to be building the capacity. When I started as a support worker, one of the very things that was taught to me was, you're not there to work for them, you're there to work with them.
Yep,
We don't say and you're 100% right. Like what you said, like we support them just to be around. Like we don't support them to move forward. And I remember back in the day when I was a support worker, we would be like, no, I'm not going to cook for you. Like, no, we're
yep,
cooking together. We're cooking together. Like, no, I'm not doing. We're cooking together. Come on, let's do it. Um, and we need to see that back in this year. I mean, and not to say that's not happening. We need to see more of it happening across.
yeah,
Like, it needs to be happening across the sector because that's how we get outcomes. Like we need to also ensure that this sector remains sustainable, right? Because
yeah,
it is, it's a tax-paid insurance scheme, and the taxpayer funds it. At the moment, we're getting a lot of budget cuts, and it is what it is. Like we won't dive into that
yep,
because that's a whole nother beast. But we have a responsibility to play, as people that work in this sector, um, and we need to be pushing it. We need to be making sure that this
yep.
sector is sustainable.
I put a post out the other day, and it was for $70. I think 23 is what a NDIS participant pays for a one-to-one to come into their home. Is it bang for buck? Because I look at it like, if you're like a support worker, I'm entering somebody's home, this is the amount that we're charging this person. Do they get what they ordered? Like, is it what they wanted? Do they get the
Mm,
fullness? Because $70.23 in my world is a lot of money. Like, that's a lot, like, for a
yeah,
service, yeah.
it
It's,
is a lot of money.
it's interesting. It is, because then if you put it on this perspective for the person we serve, they're like, am I safe? Am I going to get what I want? Is it going to skill build me? Am I getting bang for buck? So, like, when we talk about these things, it's very easy to forget that there's a cost, a figure behind it that pays for somebody to enter in and out of your house. Yeah,
It's
you've
crazy.
had.
I mean, that's someone's shopping for the week.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. So you've had a few different roles through before you got to now. Yeah. So at the moment, not at the moment, I should say. So now you're in the operations and marketing. What is it called? Hold on, one moment. Your role is head
Marketing and
of
community
marketing
engagement.
and community
Community
engagement.
engagement.
So I'm seeing some of your content, and it's really good content, but I noticed the content that you have is quite person centered and focused on that individual that's in your service. How do you keep that continuously in your marketing for the service you work for?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. That is a great question. I've actually never been asked that question before. And it's so funny because obviously we had a marketing strategy, and in the back of my mind, what you're saying and how I do that is like sitting here, but no one's ever asked me. No, I'm going to articulate that. But I think the most important thing is let me get this out just so I can do it justice. But I think the most important thing, there's a few things, right? It's not just there's a few things there's a few things to consider. Is number one, we work with people.
Yes.
People are our primary focus. We work for services. We work for services that work with people.
Yeah.
I think what is it? There's from somebody, there's probably about 2,500 or maybe plus close to 3,000 service providers in New South Wales alone.
Mm.
I work for an accommodation provider. I don't know how many, there's probably maybe 1,000 or 1,500 still provide accommodation providers in Sydney, that are like us. So number one, it's important when we're marketing, it's important to be able to articulate your point of difference. Number one. Number two, it's important to, keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is people. We support people. And in terms of marketing, the ugly side of I guess what we do is it's a business and we need to grow the business. So we need to be able to show people what we do with people, what we do
Yeah.
with participants. I say it's the ugly side of business because I mean that side of business has to do with numbers and it has to do with KPIs and when we're
Yeah.
working with people, we don't want to think about that. We want to think about relationships. I think the most important thing else to remember as well is that the other thing to consider as well for me when I'm creating content is how do I add value to the sector? So when I'm creating content, I'm also thinking about who's viewing my content. I'm thinking about it's a support coordinator. So I wanted to add as well is
Go for it.
as well is that a lot of providers are doing a lot of great work that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
In this space, as I mentioned earlier, uh, like we're in a space saturated with providers. And if you're doing great work
Sure.
and nobody knows about it, like at the end of the day, that's all great. You can do all the great work you want. But at the end of the day, you have to realize like you're also a business. How do
Yeah.
you grow that business? So at the back of my mind, when I'm creating content, I'm thinking, how do I do that? How do I
Yeah.
show that we are the best at this? If you want to talk about accommodation, we're the best at this. We're the experts at that. And it's about placing. So what I try to do is when I'm creating content, I try to do it so that I place us as subject experts, if so to say. But at the same time, bringing it back to the participant, it's important that when you're creating content, that you also creating content. You're not just because a lot of people just create content. One of
Yeah.
the actually, and going back to this sector, one of the things that we don't do really well in this sector is we don't do marketing well in this sector, because
Tell me.
because because at the end of the day, like this is a sector that's that this is a sector that prioritizes relationships over marketing. It's one of the
Yeah.
very few sectors where you can collaborate with your competitors, right? It's one of the very few. So, like for example, if we worked in the tech sector, or if we were, I don't know, in the banking sector, it's very rare that BDMs from different organizations get together and just sit down and have a chat. In
Yeah.
this sector, it's just a normal Monday thing. We're gonna all meet up and have a coffee for an hour and then whatever. And we'll do that every day. So it's so important to know who your audience is.
Mm.
A lot of guys, actually, I won't even go down there because I might open a can of worms and I might say something controversial that people are going to hate me on. But I think it's important to know who your market is. So when I create content,
Yep.
at the back of mind, I'm always remembering that, okay, my viewers that I want looking at my content is support content, mum and dad, I'm a guardian,
Yep.
SP, OT,
Yep.
and just maybe anyone, because ultimately they're the guys that are the gatekeepers. They're the guys that are going to be talking about or looking about the services that I have to offer. And what are they looking for, right? Because I think a lot of people, when we create our content, what we do as providers is we create for a lot of providers, and I've talked to a few providers. They get angry. They're like, "Oh, no one's doing your content. No one's going to do this and that, this and that." And yeah, you can pay ads, and I pay a few ads sometimes as well to push content. And I'm also learning in this space as well. But I think
Mm.
what we have to understand is that you need to earn the right for people to do your
Mm.
content.
Yep.
And creating content in itself is a creative art, and it's a science as well. Like it is literally
Yeah.
a science as well. Like you can't just create content and think, uh, like you could probably master edit the best content ever, and no one will look at it.
Yep. I
Because
have.
yeah, because we walk into it thinking that people are gonna look at it. Then really, they always know, right, to look at the content. We need to be able to create content. We have to earn the right to look at their content. So a lot of that, what I'm trying now at the moment is what I call content marketing,
Yep.
where I will try to show you something at the start, and it could be like, I don't know, this is how I was able to get this client 2-to-1 funding. And if you like it, like message me or something like that. I don't know. But automatically that intrigues you and I want to click and have a look. Or and it has to be person centric, right? Because at the end of the day, um, people prefer to deal with people. We don't want to deal with systems and processes. I will buy from you over this guy, because I know you, I have a relationship with you. So, being able to articulate that online as well, is what I'm constantly trying to figure out when I'm posting content. It is tiring. It is tiring. Like when I'm doing stuff, I'm like thinking, okay, what do,
Yep.
how do I earn trust? Also,
Yeah.
it's important to be able to earn trust online. What people don't realize is, trust can be earned. Trust can be given. For example, if I go to an event and you go around and say, "Oh, I'll paint this actually." Sorry, we go to an event. I walk in the door. I'm my Solomon. Like obviously, we've just started a podcast ship, and so I could walk in the door and no one would know me, and I would probably get pissed off because I'd be like, "Everyone should know who I am." Like like I've just done this and I've just done that. Why isn't no one showing me? And it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're not, yeah. And because no one knows me, no one knows me. No, I haven't taken the time to build trust or rapport. So often what we do as providers is we post content just aimlessly thinking like, "Hey guys, I'm here." Like, and we walk into the room and like, "Bro, who are you?"
Mm.
We don't know you. And then we get annoyed and we get angry. So that's a bad way to build trust. There are two other good ways to build trust. Another good way to build trust is by earning it. But the other way to build trust is sometimes you need to build your own platform, have people like yourself, leverage off this type of people, because when you're also working with other people, they also can endorse you in a way, not in a,
Yep.
I guess, I don't know if I'm waffling here, but they
No, no, no,
almost,
no. I'm
almost,
good. I'm good.
almost
No,
in
no,
the,
no.
yeah,
I get what you're
almost
saying
in
because
endorsing way where, for example, if I walk in the room and we were there together and you said, "Oh, guys, I'm Gina Solomon's doing this, and Solomon's doing that, Solomon's doing that." I might not know the person, but what you've done is uh, you've set up platforms for me so that people trust them.
Yeah.
So when
It's
we're creating
because
content,
people
it's
need to
important to
see
do
it.
that. Yeah. So when we're creating trust, we need to do that.
And that's why we podcast.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually
Exactly.
I'm kind of accidental podcast, but that's a story for another time. But podcasting has definitely opened plenty of doors of people that I wouldn't normally would speak to or know of because they're in different states or we're just in different places. I can't always go to networking meetings in
Mm,
Frankston. Let's say that, yeah, like I'm on the other side of town. So this year gives you a platform to push it out, push like the content, and then I also get to like interview people, which is cool. So it means that I develop instead of having like that coffee date that you want to catch up after, like you go to your networking meeting or have a coffee or a virtual coffee, cut all that out and just go straight for the podcast because
yeah.
I don't stuff
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. You're giving yourself a voice where, you can add value to the community.
But the coolest thing is I get to hear your stories. And
Yeah.
when I hear, no, I do. And I learn so much from it. So when people go, oh, podcast, I'm like, well, actually, yeah, you create content at the end of it, but I'm having a one-to-one conversation with somebody and I'm understanding like their whys they've got in business, what makes them feel good, like why they do what they do in this sector, because it is very niche, like why people are here and what they do and what they deliver. The
Mm,
podcasting stuff just pretty much I was like, well, that's for everybody else. But today I've learned something. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So we haven't even talked about the name of your podcast. What's the name of your podcast? How did you get the name?
It's so funny. You want the honest truth or you want like a lie?
What?
I can tell you, I just kind of just came to me the dream. That the real reality is look, like the beautiful thing about AI.
Mm,
I was sitting there and I'm like, I I literally said I want to do this, and I was thinking about this,
mm,
and me and my colleague, so Omar, if you watch this, big shout out to you. So we're just me and him, we're the marketing team that aligned.
yeah,
Well, literally, we came up with the idea. Obviously, it's not a new idea. It's done in America by someone really famous, and he gets to do all of this stuff with celebrities, with the holdings and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I thought to myself, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. It works. It's a proven concept. So I'm just gonna go with that. We hadn't seen anything like this in the sector. I thought, and then so I started, putting all my ideas in ChatGPT and just kind of throwing ideas, and I was asking it to kind of counter all of my ideas. And then we kind of came up and we fine tuned it and we're like, okay, we're happy with this. And I said, wait, what are we going to call it? And then I said this shit, I said to ChatGPT, I said this, I said, look, like, what did I say? I said, this podcast is about spotlighting people in the sector. So the first three questions or two questions is about them, who they are, what they do, and then the rest is about
yeah,
the sector. But this is not a serious podcast. This is not a podcast where we just talk about boring serious shit. This is a podcast where we have fun, and the
yeah.
entertainment of it is eating hot wings. Beautiful AI, my mate, best mate at the moment, who helps me a lot at work. ChatGPT said, Lauren, I think you should call it shift banter. And I saw it, and I said, that's the word, shift banter. Yeah, because I think when I said when I was writing the thing out, I said, I'm thinking of like this is a place where we can banter
Mm,
and stuff like that. And one of the so we shift banter. So that's how we came up with the name. In
yeah,
terms of like the people that we have on our podcast, look, this is not just people who are, I guess, hold titles in this sector. It's support workers. It's people with disabilities as well. It's parents, and then obviously your BDM, CEOs, support coordinators, and all that kind of stuff. So it's literally anybody and everybody in the sector,
yeah.
or that has dealt with the sector. And it's just a place where we can just have fun. We can eat some wings. We can do it, and we can talk.
What is one thing that you've learned from podcasting of your
One thing I've learned,
interviews?
one thing I've learned from podcasting, yeah, is that you you can learn a lot about people by having just intentional conversations. Like
Yeah,
I learned a lot about why people are in this sector, what they do, and it gave me a
mm,
different respect. Like I often see them and I shake their hand. Now when I see them and I shake their hand, my handshake in my conversation with them, I've come from a deeper respect because I not only know how far they have to travel to do things or how far they have to travel to even come into work and why they travel so far to come to work or
Yep.
the reason why they ended up in the sector and how they did it. Like, I mean, so, like, unlike myself, who just accidentally stumbled in this sector. But there are others that have real lived experience. Like for example, um, one of our first guests was Gigi, and she was talking about how they were at a birthday event and or
Yeah.
Christmas party, and her dad walked out to the car to get some presents, and all of a sudden they were inside and they were screaming and shouting, and they came out, and her dad was lying on the ground like hit by a car as he was crossing the road with the presents, and from that moment on, she had to become a full-time carer. We did another podcast with another guy named Jack, and the amount of traveling that he has to do just to come to events so that he can connect with us.
Yeah.
He's driving like two, and it's so funny because up until that point, I thought this guy lived in Sydney, like just around us,
Yeah.
because he was at literally at every event I would go to. And I'll shake his hand, I'll just like, hey, mate, and just go walk off. And not only did I learn about his why, but when I learned about how
Mm.
far he had to travel, this guy was like traveling like 2 hours every single day, um, just so that he can build rapport, build relationships, and just so that he could be able to add to the sector and help other people. Um, and many more. Like there's so many more people. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things I learned. Podcasting, and then there's the bad stuff that we learned about podcasting as well. Um, if you want me to talk about,
Stuff. I
yeah, like
just think,
what? I think like it's so funny. Like I remember, and look, like whether this goes up as a reel or not, I don't know. But like,
go
it's
on.
so funny because look, it's good and bad. It's like I remember so ever since I started the podcast, up until that point, I would walk into spaces and there'll be like a group of people that will always welcome me, always talk to me. There'll be a group, not a group, there'll be people that I don't even know. And I
Yep.
like it's so hard to even have a conversation with them. I know who they are, I want to
Yeah.
have a conversation. I want to say hello. Um, they're just like just kind of just ignore me, walk away. And that's fine. I think yeah, I'm good at tasking. And you know what? It's not about even having to stick. I don't take it personally. It's just a sector. There's like how many people that work in the sector, it's fine. But then the moment you do something out of the box and you create a bit of noise, all of a sudden, all these people that didn't have the time, they didn't want to talk to you, you be messaging them, they leave you on red or whatever. All of a sudden turn around
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, oh, how did you do this? Can I jump on? And I'm like, yeah. I was talking to my mate about it. I'm like, yeah, no. No, I know that sounds bad. I know that sounds bad. I said that as a joke just to, again, the banter part of it. Yeah, but look, like, hey, like, a lot of people that know is that I have no filter. Like, I'll just say it is what it is. I can be a bit insensitive sometimes, but yeah, I think the most important thing is that I've learned in this sector is that it's like we have our KPIs. Yes,
Yeah.
we have our roles and what we do in our roles and for our companies. Yes, that's all important. Like again, like we don't work in the corporate sector.
Yeah.
In this sector, relationship building is so important. So, you know, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that just walks in and you only want to talk to the people that you perceive that can only give you value. You know, say hello to the people that you wouldn't probably go out of the way and say hello to because you don't know.
Yeah.
I was watching and this is probably a really dumb example, but it's one of my favorite movies, Intern. I don't know the internship, the Google one. Have you ever watched it? Intern?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay. So you were there. So there's a scene in there with that guy he's got his headphones like mine and he's constantly
Mm.
typing on his keyboard. And then the guy that's supposed to be the guy that's going to get the job at Google, and he's kind of like the hot job or stuff, whatever. And he's constantly mean to this guy and he's constantly mean to everyone else around him. Anyway, long story short, so it turns out that guy that everyone's just kind of ignoring is actually kind of a big deal. And it doesn't reveal until the end of the movie when the guys that had no hope, the guys that were kind of the outcast people, ended up getting a job. And I say that because it's important in this sector, it's important to value people. It's
Yeah.
important to value people and value relationships. Like this is not just a transactional space.
Yeah.
Like there's so many companies, I can't even count how many times where I've gone from maybe company to company. I've gone from different job to different job. and I've seen this person move from here to here to here to here, and they're constantly moving up. And as we move up, everyone's moving up, and
Yeah.
and maybe the guy that you were ignoring might be your boss tomorrow.
Do you know the interesting part? Like when I podcasted, there's been a few people that have podcasted at the start of their career. And you're right, because I see them now and I'm like, oh my God, look at all the cool things they've done along the way. I'm so glad that I didn't put them to the side. I'm really glad that I still went ahead and pursued them because they, they're like, I feel like I'm a part of their story because I've got their time in the sun. Like they can talk about what they did and where they are. And I like, there's a few of them that I want to catch up with and podcast again and do like a live update because I feel like they need it because where they started to where they are now, completely different. I agree with you. But also I was just thinking, so I'm totally off my script. Totally, we're off. Yes.
Yeah, that's all good. We're off.
But I was just thinking, like, there've been times that I've been to expos and all that stuff, and I'm terrible with names. So I would turn up to the expo or turn up to the meet and greets and the networking, and somebody would talk to me and they'd say, Sarah, I saw this, I watched this, but I realized that I can't put all of them together. The like a lot of what I'm trying to say is a lot of people watch your content and you don't realize they're watching your content. They're watching it from afar and they may never say anything to you. I think sometimes I might give I think people might be intimidated to come near me or to talk to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
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 I
and
think that.
absolutely, I 100% agree with you that like that's happened to me as well. Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's tough. Like we can't be all things to everybody. We can't remember
Mm,
everybody. We can't, but it's important to be intentional. I think you know what I mean. Like it's when you're in a space and you know you have a certain level of influence. Um, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy, be the person. It's important to be the likable person. And I don't say that because like, we want to be likable, but because we want to work with people. And this,
yeah,
the more, if we set ourselves up for success, then we put us place, we set ourselves up to position ourselves to be able to have great influence and be able to help people.
yeah.
So, be the people, be a person of the people. Yeah, I know it sounds really dumb, and I'm probably showing you my intrusive thoughts at the moment.
Well, I feel that because we've had support worker backgrounds in our
Yeah,
careers, we've had to go into situations where we didn't know somebody, and we'd had to work very quickly to get to know as much as we could to make sure we could
yeah,
support somebody really well. I sort of think that's probably had a helping hand when it comes to networking because you are put into situations and you're in a set of people that you may never have met before, and you've got to put yourself out there conversation. And this is where support work, like this is where I find we don't make support work sound as professional as it really does deserve to be because these are the skills that we got because of support work.
yeah, yeah. And you're right. And to stem off that, I think for me personally, a lot of what I do is I love to help people. I don't care if you are a competitor. Like today, I was at an
Yeah.
event, and this guy was a new provider. And he comes up to me, and he's just like. The worst thing. So before I even say that, the worst thing is when you're at an event, right? You're at a paid event and you want to be the guy that didn't pay for crap and you come in and you want to push your content and be like, and the worst thing is like when we're a super provider and then another super
Yeah.
provider is just like, we're a new business. Can you send us some participants? Okay. So that happens to me a lot, but I mean, I will still entertain the conversation, but
Mm,
but because of my support work background,
yeah.
I won't shut down a conversation. I will go out to help the person. So in that time, so what actually happened was I sat him down. So I had him for 6 minutes at my table, 6 minutes. And I was like, okay, quickly tell me exactly what to do. I wrote out a piece of paper. I was like, you need to do X, Y, Z, this and this. I can't give you participants, but man, like this, okay, this is my number. If you need any help, just give me a buzz.
Yeah.
And again, like in this sector, like it's not just about us. It's not, yes, we work for companies, but it's not about us. It's about the people that we support in the sector. If we want better outcomes, and
Yeah.
then we need to have more collaborative conversations because there's a piece of pie for everybody in this sector.
But collaboration is a lot easier than what we make it. I feel like sometimes we put the stop on things when we don't need to. Like you're a podcaster, I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
Like It's fine.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, absolutely.
you get the edit, I get the edit. That doesn't
Yeah,
bother me at all because at the end of
yeah,
the day, it's making sure that we've got this message out there to the people that we serve that we can collaborate, we can work together because we need a whole life approach. And I think that there has been I think my it is if you're going to work with providers that don't see somebody with a full life approach, from support workers to support coordinators to planners to OTs to allied health people, we can't all work together. The person doesn't achieve the goal that they really want. They don't get to be as independent as they need to be because we've become human bollards. Support workers, for support workers listening today, what do you wish more people understood about their roles?
that what they're doing, it's not just what, yeah, what what they're doing is it's more than just a job. What
Mm,
you're doing as a support is more than just a job, and you need to be able to see your role as a person who is a champion for the people that you work for. Um, you need to be able to see your role as a capacity builder. Don't see yourself as a support worker. Often you can, I think there are negative connotations today, like when you think of like support work, and a lot of people kind of like, oh, just a support worker, and it's kind of lost it's kind of lost its, I don't know, like it's what's the word? It's lost its riz. Maybe it's not the
professionalism.
right word. And it's lost its professionalism. And a bit, yeah, it's lost its professionalism because a lot of people just think like, yeah, it's just a job or whatever. Like I'm just a support worker.
Hmm.
But you're not like, you're, you're a capacity builder, a capacity builder. You're, when you rock up to work, your focus should be, okay, for example, if on a scale of 1 to 10, okay, we're not even going to look at a week to week. Let's just look at it, 1st of January to the end of December. All right. So if my client, on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of cooking
Yep.
is ranked at a 2 or 3,
Mm,
then your goal should be at the end of the year, this guy should be sitting at a 5 or
yep.
6. And I think like that's, if you're a support worker and you're listening, claim the professionalism of support worker again and understand that your role holds so much importance. It might not mean anything. It might just be a job for you, but to the person you're supporting, it's everything to them. It may mean that they're able to get up. It may mean that they're able to have community. If you've never ever experienced not having community, you won't understand. So, and you may be very privileged and not be able to relate to any of the things that the people that we support go through.
Yep.
Um, but empathize, have some empathy, try and put yourself in their shoes, see what they're going through. And that requires a lot of intentionality. Coming into work as a support worker, it requires intentionality. You need to physically be there,
Mm,
immerse yourself in your job, thinking, okay, like I'm going to move this person from a 2, starting at a 2 this year, and by the end of the year, I want to see this guy as a 3 or 4 or a 5. And maybe his only capacity, his greatest capacity will only ever be a 3.
yep.
But if you get him there, that might mean, okay, I got him to a 3. Like it might just mean like that to you, like, well, okay, I got him to a 3. But to him, you've just given him something. You've given him or her something. So I think, yeah, I think, if you're a support worker and you're listening to this, understand the importance of your role, you know,
Yep.
understand the importance of your role. Like you, in terms of the role that you play in society and the community, you're keeping these people safe. You're keeping them safe. They're vulnerable. They're vulnerable people. Left alone. So I've seen so many participants who families are not there and they've had to die alone. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you, like, it's a blessing to be able to be in that situation, to be able to be like, okay, like, no one's here, but I get to be with you. I'm going to be with you. We do. And I think it's important to realize as well, like, it says you get to do this. Like, if you do, if everything kind of runs out of your head, maybe
Mm,
understand this. Like, this is something that you get to do. You get to be a part of someone's life. You get to help. And I think, um, in all of us, there's something built in all of us where we want to give back, where we want to help.
Yeah.
And you get to do this. You get to wake up in the morning and not have to worry about, not like, I don't know, adding to the system, or adding to the man or the guy
Mm.
sitting at the top of the ladder. That's not your sector. You're working in a sector where you're dealing with people and
Yep.
you get to help them. You get to add value to their life. You get to bring sunshine into their life. You get to bring joy and happiness into their life. And like,
Do
think
you
it like,
get jealous? Like, do you get jealous when you see people out and about and you're like, God damn, I'd love to be a support worker right now. Look who you get
I,
to work with. Look at the fun you get to do. Look at all the experiences you get. And you would not have got this experience unless you were a support worker. I
yep,
often think that, and then especially in office, I want to be out and about with you. Like, I don't really want to be in an office. I thoroughly enjoy being with you. That part as well. Like, I know sometimes people go with support work, oh, they go to the movies and they go bowling. It's more than that. Like, the people that we
it's
support
more than that.
are funny. Like,
It's more than
and
that.
I know you talk about shift banter, but my God, the banter that I have had with the people that we've served, it's top notch. I don't think anyone can compete with that. Like, if you want to, like a day where I've just been times where I think I nearly wet myself out of laughter just purely because it's just so damn funny.
Yeah, one of the things I got to do as a support worker was I used to support this client years ago, and he never got to say goodbye to his dad. His dad passed away. Never got to say
Yeah,
goodbye to his dad, and I was honored to be able to drive him from Sydney to, geez, I can't remember the place, but I was behind Newcastle. It was about a 4 hour drive. We drove
yeah,
there, and I took him to the grave, and he got to say goodbye to his dad, and drove him back. But being able to be a part of that moment. Like, man, like, I'm not sitting behind the desk. I get to drive. I get to have these funny conversations. We were reliving all the memories that he had with his father, being able to witness that and being able to be a part of that moment. Like,
mm,
that was just between him and his dad. But
yeah,
I was given I got the opportunity to be a part of that. And yes, like, it was only driving him and making sure that he got there safely and coming back. But if I didn't do it, like, he wouldn't have had that opportunity. Yeah.
yeah,
I also want to say as well, on the flip side, if this is a job for you and you're just here to cash in a check, this is not the sector. Like, if you're a support worker and you're thinking, oh, like, I'm just here, blah blah blah. I'm just
I
here
heard
just to
on
get
a
the money.
Facebook, what is it, like one of the group things that this was a great job, or you get to go to the football and go to the movies, not the
Yeah,
job for you. It is. I've had people go, oh, I have to do personal care. I was like, what? Yes, it's a part
yeah,
of being a support worker. These are the things that, like it's not it can be sold as something that's quite delightful and it looks like fun, but there is the flip side of responsibility for somebody vulnerable, assisting somebody to support them to eat. There is personal care, there is following support plans in place for behaviors of concern, like there is all
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, like there is the fun stuff, but like you said, you have to love it. You have
yeah,
to love
and
people.
absolutely. And if you're listening to this and this is just a job and this is just a paycheck for you, you're in the wrong sector.
Yeah,
To be honest, like,
I agree.
as blunt as that is, you're in the wrong sector, and you're doing yourself a disjustice by staying here.
Yeah,
You're doing the clients you support a disjustice by staying here because the clients know. Our clients know when we're just rocket, when we're there because it's just a
yeah,
paycheck. I mean,
yeah,
we're body, soul, spirit, or whatever the makeup is. And you don't have to tell me. Like, you can walk in a room and you sit with someone, and you don't have to
yep,
tell me whether I don't have to. You don't have to say anything to me if you don't like me. Like, I will know that you don't like me. I will know if we're having a chat and you don't want to talk to me because your body will just radiate that energy. I mean, I
yeah.
could just see, like, your participants will know. Your participants will know if,
Yeah,
that you don't want to be there.
they have already tipped you before you walked in the room. They have looked you up and down. They've read your body language. They can understand your tone, everything that you say and how you present yourself. So when you are your very first time you turn up to support somebody, the way you turn up is so important because I reckon it's probably probably the 10 seconds you walk in that room, they've already made a judgment about you.
Absolutely. And if you want to stay in this sector, then then do everything you need to do to learn how to be a great support worker and
Yep.
understand what capacity building is and what that would look like
Yep.
for working with your participants.
So what do you see or predict in the NDIS space for the next couple of years?
Here, the big one.
I'll get your
So
crystal ball out.
that's it's out of my pay grade. Yeah, geez. Look, I think what do I put? What do?
What do you predict? Yeah, go for it. You're in sales. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, look, I think I see in the next. I think there'll be a weeding out of bad providers. I anticipate more funding cuts. Um, but that's only to ensure the sustainability of the scheme. I anticipate that a lot of people will also drop off the scheme as well. Because that I think there's lots to do at the moment. They're doing like a reassessment of participants that are currently on the scheme, and that's coming shortly. So I think in terms of whether it's going to be here or not, I see here. I think that it will say the NDIS is good for us here and for the participants.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great initiative. It's a great scheme. I think that providers need to be working together to ensure that this scheme is sustainable. The whole sector needs to work together to ensure that the NDIS, I think what we often do is we often pass the luck and we'll put all the pressure on the NDIA to come up with the answers. But the reality is that they don't necessarily have all the answers.
Yeah.
I think there in the near future there'll be more of a collaborative space between providers and the NDIA.
Yep.
I know that they do already talk, but I see in the near future that there'll be more of a streamline of collaborative talks between providers and the NDIS and how they can work together to make the scheme more sustainable. Because I think the reason sorry, and the reason why I just or no, not the reason why, but by doing so, it will just produce better outcomes for the participants, and ultimately
That's what we're here for.
that's what we all want, and that's what we're here for. So I think that's what they'll probably do down in the future.
So, what excites you the most about the future of marketing in the NDIS community sector?
Ah, I love this. I what excites me most? I think what excites me most is at the moment there's a lot of movement around AI. AI has been really slow to roll out in our sector. Again, because we tend to prioritize relationships and face-to-face value kind of conversations and meetings. A lot of marketing is face-to-face value. The way the world is moving, it's moving online. It was already online years ago. The disability sector has been very, very slow. Again, coming back to the way we work in this sector, we work face to face.
Yep.
But it really excites me because I think what we're going to see is a lot more innovation around marketing. Marketing this sector is so boring. And in this sector, I was actually saying this to a business owner today at an event, and I was saying, I think what we'll see is we'll see a lot of the great, a lot of what we see outside of this sector, all of the great marketing concepts that we see outside the sector, we'll see that start coming into this sector. What we'll see is we'll see a lot of people
We're
will
already
begin.
doing it.
Yeah, we're already doing it. We'll see a lot of people finally understanding. A lot of people we'll see a lot more higher quality marketers.
Yeah.
See, I also think we'll also see a high increase in outsourcing of marketing which will also be which will also be great for a lot of businesses,
Yep.
because it means that they'll get a lot of top quality productions, top quality ads and stuff like that.
Mm.
But I think what we will see in the future is more high quality as people begin to understand how people buy, how people consume, how people research,
Mm.
because there seems to be there's a better understanding now, and there'll just be a flow-on effect from there. because at the moment, as I said, like the marketing in this sector sucks balls.
Yep.
So
It just feels really like I get why we use AI. I get why we use stock images, but I feel like we could use the people that we've got in our own services, their pictures and what they're achieving, and show that more than somebody that's not even ever used your service. I find that hard and drawn to that. I'm yet to see. Like, you might be the first one. You ready for this? I am yet to see anyone advertise a seal house where the person that we serve who actually lives in that house, one of the residents, hold a camera, go through the house, say, I need a roommate. I'd love to see that.
I'm
That'd be
gonna do
one of
that.
those things that I would love to see because that ownership of this is my house, this is, I live with so and Frank and blah blah blah. And this is this here is a room that we haven't got a roommate yet. We're looking for somebody to live with. I would love that
Mm.
when they're holding the camera, they've got all control, or even like a walkthrough of a seal house where they've got the camera and they're like, "Yep, and I've got this in the kitchen. I've got this, and this." And what's important to that person that lives there, not us, because what you and I see is completely different to somebody that actually wants to live there. I would just die for that type of content. I'm waiting.
Well, a lot of the marketing, and look, and I say this because when I started, I was probably really guilty of it as well. Um, as I've kind of found my feet in this space and done research and trying to understand how people in this sector are purchasing and how they're buying and what are they looking for. You know, a lot of the stuff that I see in the market today, where in marketing is just trumpet tooting, to be honest. You know, just
Yeah,
people just boosting their own egos and stuff like that. And look, like whatever, like it is what it is. You know, like we see that across all sectors.
yeah,
Because because we often talk about personal branding, right? Like
mm,
people, you have to tie personal branding, I guess you yourself are a personal brand, and then you kind of have to your business gets to leverage off that.
yeah,
And that is true. The fine dance is how to do it well without tooting your own horn,
yeah.
and do it in a
Or how to do
way,
it ethically in here, in
and
this sector. How
how
do
to
we
do,
do it
yeah,
ethically? Yeah,
how do I do it ethically that puts the participant first? Because yes, people buy from people, people deal with people. Uh, So if your face is tied, and we see, like for example, we see it in the NRL, like
yeah,
every single NRL player athlete is its own personal brand, and usually when different teams want to increase their hype, they will go out and they'll buy like the best person, the best brand. You know what I mean?
mm,
They'll go and they'll pull that person on that tag because he's got a big personal brand and the skill set that he can bring. So I guess similar concept, but we don't do it well. And I think things will begin to change as we begin to
yeah.
educate. And I actually was thinking about this the other day. Something that I want to take on as a personal project this year, once when I'm ready, maybe this year or next year, is I'd like to start helping providers, maybe even putting on a workshop or something, if I can get it past my team, because they might be like, dude, we can't nail our secrets out of the bag.
I think there's something in it. Like, how do you
Yeah,
personal brand and how do you market in a sector that is not always very sexy?
yeah. Well, exactly. How do you do that? Because the reality is, we're not going to create content that's going to go viral. We're creating content for the people that consume our brands or consume in this
Yeah,
sector. Um, so yeah, it's a tricky one, but what I'm hoping for and what I'm predicting is better quality, better content, um, and a better understanding of how we leverage personal branding and also be able to be respectful to the companies we work for.
yeah. So just to where you're at, the company, how does anyone contact you in regards to the company that you work for? What is the best contact?
Yes, and best contact for me is you can contact me on my mobile number, contact me directly or my email address. I don't know if I should say that over here or put it in the
Well,
description.
is it one of those ones that like a LinkedIn or is it an email?
Yeah. So it's just email or LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn more than I am on Instagram. Or actually, because I do manage all of our socials,
Yep.
So you can contact me on social media. So Align Community Care
Yep.
on Instagram, Shift
Yep.
Banter on Instagram, Shift
Yep.
underscore Banter, or Solomon Raptavaga on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yeah. Or you can just contact me directly.
And do you listen to Shift Banter? What platforms is your podcast on?
So we're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. So I don't even know how to use TikTok, to be honest. Yeah, I have no idea. So we're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube and Spotify. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. You're a
No,
thrill to talk to.
thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.